Hello everyone, Z here. Welcome back to Vucari-gaming, and I don't have a gameplay video right now. I'll probably record one later tonight, but I'm taking a very quick break from writing my senior thesis to bring you some news about Troy. Um, so, we got a dev blog from Total War today titled Achilles, Achaeans, and Aesthetics, the Art of Troy, written by Ella McConnell. Now, I'm going to read through this, and I'll post it in the description below as I run through it. So, with the release of our next saga title drawing ever closer, it's time to take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes workings. Ooh, drawing ever closer. We know it's coming in 2020, but this makes it sound like it could be coming in spring of 2020. Spring, early summer, I hope. I don't know. I'm hoping. Okay, I'm not really interested in their start. Okay, let's see. In Maya's case, Maya was a game director, starting with the new campaign for Rome 2, Empire Divided, and the political overhaul. Stepped on a few rakes, yeah. Yeah, there's some mistakes, but Rome 2 is a pretty fun game now. Uh, and continued with more content until reaching Troy. So the Rome team is coming to Troy. Okay. Describes Total War as a unique combination of turn-based strategy and real-time tactical battles. Two games in one. Very complex, having a lot of legacy and yet a lot of potential for further development. Curious, do we get a new engine? Are you hinting at a new engine? Please, please. I love Total War games, but we need a new engine, and I know that's a lot of work to do, but please, it's worth it. It'll pay off. It's fight navigating old mechanics, fighting monstrous bugs. A lot relating to the, you know what? Sorry. Okay, as a longtime fan of the series, mine insists that working on Total War is still a dream job, but not without unique challenges. Right. This kind of goes to some of the things I talked about when I watched the trailer and did my first reaction to Troy. The yeah. Troy is the furthest Creative Assembly has ever gone back in history with one of its games, and covering such an ancient time period means there is often a lack of reliable sources to work with when designing armies, settlements, and other features that are integral to Total War's other historical titles. As art director, this means that Stoyan and his team spend much more time conceptualizing in game assets compared with other games, all of which had many more historical references to draw on. I'm going to come back to this. We'll come back to it. Bronze Age culture left us with few artifacts compared with those we have from later periods. To make up for this, we had to turn to the original literary sources to learn more. We used the Iliad and the Odyssey as primary sources of information for the characters, which nicely filled in the gaps in historical heritage. Right. For Maya, the greatest challenge, bloody hell, is maintaining the balance between myth and reality in order to create an authentic Total War saga about the late Bronze Age while still doing justice to one of the greatest and most foundational stories of contemporary culture. Um, yeah, so this is also a thing. Um, I'm just gonna really briefly say, I love Total War games. I adore Total War games. They are my favorite and probably always will be my favorite games. Just sit down and play as stress relief and as fun. But they're not about a story, they're about history. So, I loved Three Kingdoms which is based partially on a novel. I don't want the the story of Troy to to overthrow the greatness of Total War historical titles. Okay, that's all. Homer's Iliad has such a strong gravitational pull that many times has threatened to devour the game, and all our efforts to collect and present information on this fascinating and very obscure period in history that we dare to expand the series in. Okay, I love this. This paragraph right here. I love it. Because what she's doing is speaking to exactly the thing I'm afraid of and saying, I know that this can happen. I'm scared about it happening too. I'm trying really hard to not let that happen. Thank you. Thank you, Maya. This is good. Okay, look at that armor. Just take a look at this picture. Which I know is probably really small on the screen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, moving on. However, Maya believes a stable orbit that accounts for the team's truth behind the myth approach has been found, one that does justice to both the epic story and the intriguing history. Working with the text of the Iliad brings out my inner kid archaeologist, sifting through every word from meanings lost or missed, drawing parallels, mapping timelines, and comparing with other sources. Finding bits of historical fact behind it feel almost as rewarding as unearthing the treasures of Priam and Mycenae. Choice development continues apace. As Stoyan says, it's been a long and hard road. This stage of development, a workday is a slice of buried contained chaos, a storm of questions, reviews, and meetings of revising plans and hard decisions. Not what people think of when they think of game development. However, all the hard work is starting to pay off, and everything is now coming together and shaping up. Holy shit, it's snowing. Okay, and shaping up into the game the Troy team feels it can be. I hope so. I really desperately want to get my hands on this. I cannot wait to get my hands on this and see it. Now we get to the aesthetics. I love the aesthetics of Total War games. I love the modeling. I love the artwork. Ooh. We asked Stoyan and Maya who their favorite characters were. Stoya expressed an enduring preference for the ordinary soldier, the third one from the left in the front line, which is something I'm hoping comes back. What I mean to say is that up until Three Kingdoms, historical titles had real battle animations for every soldier, and you could get the kill animations and the last ditch escapes. And I know I did this, and I truly believe a lot of people did. You'd pick a soldier and you're like, okay, I'm gonna follow him and I'm gonna cheer every time he gets one of those cinematic kills. Anyway, it used to be Hector. If there's a good guy in the Iliad, that's Hector, strong in battle but without superpowers and divine origin, dutiful, kind to his family, yada yada yada. Underdog to Achilles, but got bored, and maybe Paris deserves more credit. More to him than the biased storyteller on the side of his enemies would reveal in a legend centuries after. But Achilles is a tough act to follow. Arguably the most famous character in the Iliad, and as the epic quote starts with him, so did the concept process for the epic heroes. It means his visual design is one of the oldest in the game, and thus a bit less in line with the direction and tone the team further developed that put the emphasis more on truth rather than the myth. Thank you for that. Truth rather than myth. Again, tiny picture. I strongly suggest you guys read the article yourselves and check these images out. This is, it's not 100% historically accurate. It's pretty mythologically inspired, but it's so beautiful. CA, soon, please. I need to get my hands on this. I if this is coming out when I think it's coming out, I will actually have the time and energy to dedicate to diving in. No thesis to do, no book to work on. I can just dedicate hours whenever I'm not at work, just throw myself into this and just talk about Let's Plays that need to be made. In the initial design for Achilles, Troy wanted to convey his characteristic swiftness. That's why he has relatively light armor, connection to the famous Myrmidons, originating from ants, which is why his cheek guards are serrated in a way that resembles ant mandibles. Uh, you can see this if you're reading the article, little jags by the jaw. And a glorious golden shine to convey divine origin. Also wears the famous shield, which is not shown here, adorned with many scenes from life and peace and war. Oh, that's the shield in the logo. Okay. As the project progressed, the appetite grew, and they decided they need to have two separate armor. The one he starts with, given to him by his father, and the one he obtains from his mother. The second set is supposedly forged by Hephaestus, the god of metallurgy himself, and so is referred to internally as a god-forged armor. Turned out much more in line with the style and aesthetics of the late Bronze Age. Thank you! Which is only natural, as it was developed much later when Troy's aesthetics had matured. Is that this one? Yes, it looks like it. It's heavier, covers more of his body except for the feet, as a nod to the non-Homeric myth pertaining to his invulnerability, but although it looks more ancient, it also has a silhouette reminiscent of the classical hoplites. The message, according to Maya, that the armor of the greatest warrior set the standard to which coming generations would aspire. Stoyan, who helped create this armor set, agrees it was designed to be the most impressive set of armor in the game, a gift from the gods to the greatest warrior of the Bronze Age. Armor aside, his appearance is a frequent subject of debate in popular culture. Many believe that Achilles should look young and feminine, but this stems from a specific story set way back at the start of the Trojan War, where he was hiding among the girls in the palace of Skyros, and Odysseus tricked him into revealing himself in order to recruit him for the Achaean coalition. I remember being told that story. And this is what I love about Total War. These little stories, these little, hey, fun fact, here's something you can learn that you might not have known. What people often forget is that the Trojan War encompasses a very long period of time. At the funeral of Hector, Helen says this is now the 20th year from the time I went from thence and am gone from my native land, which means that if Achilles was about 14 or 15, when he managed to pass as a girl in Skyros on the fields of Troy, he'd be about 35. A fully grown man who has spent much of his life wearing heavy bronze armor. You don't get to stay slender and feminine wearing heavy armor all the time fighting a war. You end up either dying or developing quite a lot of muscle mass. Characters of Troy don't change their appearance in order to show passage of time. The team elected to have a mature depiction of Achilles rather than boyish, though they made sure to retain the legendary athleticism. So no beer belly? Shame. His hair is often shown as being blonde, because Westerners need to have the proper European heroes with the blonde hair and the pale and the light skin and blue eyes, if you can manage it. That's not common in the Mediterranean. That's extremely not common. People from Mediterranean, North African, and Levantine, Middle Eastern countries do not tend to be blonde or pale or have blue eyes. And the look of the Achaeans in general is a key one and explains the reasoning. One would assume people in the region to all be dark-haired and dark-eyed Mediterranean and Levantine complexions. But that is a bit simplistic and contradicts the Iliad, where both Achilles and Menelaus are described as xanthous, a word that can be translated as light or tawny when referring to hair or a lion's pelt. This isn't impossible, but it's not common. So, a couple characters, sure. A lot of your characters and a lot of your armies, probably not. And it stopped snowing. Another reference comes from the story of Achilles on Scarus. When disguised as a girl, his name was Pyrrha, which literally means fiery or red. So was Achilles' hair dark, light, or reddish? Which option is the correct one, or are they all? Highlights? People's hair also can change. It's In Troy, his hair is dark blonde, bordering on chestnut. It is common in the region for people who are blonde in childhood to turn to darker hues over time and become brown or chestnut haired with a reddish tinge. According to my parents, I started out blonde. My hair is black when I let it grow out, and black when it's really short, but no one notices that. Anyway, the community has already had a taste of Troy's campaign map, influenced by the Greek pottery common between 7th and 5th centuries BCE, and Stoy is well aware of the importance of Total War campaign maps. There where most of the gameplay happens. We wanted the Troy campaign map to feel more ancient and mystic than previous historical campaigns. Also, the campaign map is the place where legend and reality coexist, represented by two contrasting visual styles. Not easy to visually blend them well, but in the end it worked. Instead of a conventional fog of war, has the mythic shroud, specifically tailored to fit with the game as truth behind the myth approach. Shroud represents the myth. As the player is moving around the map, the shroud literally burns away, banishing that layer of myth to reveal the truth beneath. The living, breathing world. The actual game map, which is the reality. Also, it looks very awesome. Okay, so looking at this in the background, that's the Greek pottery style. And this kind of looks like old papyrus, old scroll fabric material, or pottery itself. So it's very cool that it's like you're under the surface of the pot. Shroud is also peppered with icons representing mystical events which appear where these stories were said to have taken. Ooh, thank you. That's. Shroud icons not only make the map more mystical and interesting to explore, but they actually show the places and regions where some of the most interesting legends were born. Some of them are directly connected to the gameplay as well, helping the player navigate more easily while playing. In short, they help make the game more beautiful, with those mythical creatures featured in the Shroud icons actually complementing and enriching the gameplay. Thank you. This is interesting. I want to play this. Now, I mean, it's not even ready for keys. There's no mention of keys, but I want this. I want this so bad. Why split the way the map is represented in two styles that contrast so heavily? Contrasting styles in the game's visuals were the most logical and intuitive way to present the myths and then reveal the truth that might have inspired them. You'll see this throughout the game in many ways, but perhaps the most visually striking example of this is in the campaign map, the Shroud, a great canvas with mythical elements, and the living, breathing world underneath. We'll be going into greater detail on Total War Saga Troy over the coming months by looking into gameplay, features, mechanics, and more. In the meantime, keep an eye on our social media channels for latest updates, and if you want to learn more, check out over Ancient History Encyclopedia. I won't put those there, but I will put this blog in my video description. I can't wait to learn more about gameplay and mechanics and features. I also can't wait to get my hands on the game and explain and show you guys and give you guys my take on these features and mechanics. Okay. So, how do I want to start? What I feel about this blog? I'm gonna be really short. They put a lot of my concerns to rest with this. Everything I've said about Troy, I'm really excited. I'm really pumped. 100% true. My excitement has not lessened at all. It's increased. I've gotten more excited. What has gone down is what I've kept saying. The concern I kept enumerating about. I don't want this to feel like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which went from the kind of game Assassin's Creed has historically been to being, well, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. History out the window in favor of really bad mechanics. What I'm hearing here is that they're aware of the challenges of working so far back in history. They're aware of how little they have to work with. and they're doing everything they can to beat that and give us something amazing. And like I said, a lot of my concerns have been laid to rest just from this article. Uh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you read this article? Feel free to come back and comment after reading it yourself. Does this make you feel better about Troy? Would you be interested in seeing a let's play of this? I can't. Troy. Okay, everybody, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves. I'm Z, here at Vucari-gaming.